I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street.
Do you guys ever feel a prolonged lack of energy? Sometimes I do, and that means I'm not getting enough B12. What is B12? Well, B12 doesn't give you energy, but what it does is help your body convert food into energy by helping your body to produce more red blood cells. A lot of companies offer a B12 supplement in either beverage or pill form, but a lot of the B12 actually gets lost by the inefficiencies of the digestive system. Well, those days are over. Forget everything that you think you know about inhalation and imagine a world where inhaled products are designed for health and wellness. Imagine inhaled products engineered to be free of toxins and instead provide a functional benefit with every breath. Well, that world is now. Introducing electronic vitamin B12 from Inhale Health, a major breakthrough in vitamin B12 delivery. Inhalation allows vitamin B12 to be absorbed instantaneously when breathed in. Vitamin B12 inhalers provide a non-invasive, portable, and highly effective way to maintain peak vitamin levels. Each vape pen comes preloaded with 400 breaths, which is roughly a 1-month supply, and is already charged. You don't need to refill it, you don't need to recharge it. When you're done, simply throw it in the recycle bin and order another one. I love this product so much that I actually reached out to the company and asked them to sponsor my show. And they agreed. So here's what they're going to do. Every one of my listeners who goes to inhalehealth.com and orders any of their 7 different vape pen products is going to get a 10% discount plus free shipping when you put in the promo code FSP as in Fascination Street Podcast. So there it is, guys. That's inhalehealth.com, 10% off any of their 7 products, free shipping. Promo code FSP. So give it a shot. You'll be glad you did. And hey guys, you're welcome. Hi everybody, this is Steve Owens from Fascination Street Podcast. I really appreciate your listening to the show. I'm having a lot of fun getting to talk to some really fascinating people, and I want to continue doing this, but I need your help. I need you to subscribe and tell people about the show. But the biggest thing you can do to help me is to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you listen through. As a special thank you, anyone who rates and or reviews the show, send me a screenshot as proof and I will mail you a set of 3 pair of silk cufflinks courtesy of my friends at Menlo House. You can send it via Twitter to @FascinationSTPD, via Instagram to FascinationStreetPod, or email me at FascinationStreetPod@gmail.com. I really appreciate all of you for listening and for helping. Thank you so much. Now let's get to this week's guest. What's up, guys? This episode is Louisville-based teacher and drummer extraordinaire Stephen O'Reilly. In this episode, we talk about the events that led him to Louisville, his previous band Heaven Hill, the odd fascination that him and I share with the number 47, his book Barstar, as well as his own podcast, Barstar Podcast. Hey guys, this is just a quick note to say that it is hard to showcase a drummer. So in this episode, I use clips of him drumming as interstitials between topics. So don't freak out, but there are bits of music interspersed throughout this episode. Enjoy, guys. This is Stephen O'Reilly. Yeah, talk to me, yeah. Stephen O'Reilly, welcome to Fascination Street, the show exclusively about religion, politics, and sports.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
You need to call somebody else. I'm the wrong fucking dude for this show.
Just kidding. I don't talk about that shit either. So what's up, man?
Nothing, man. How are you?
I am doing well. I think you first came on my radar when I had Angie Lisi on my show, and I reached out to you to get a little quote or a comment to hit her with, and I think it went really well.
I think it did too. She's an awesome girl. She's a hell of a drummer, and I think very, very highly of her. And I listened to that episode, and it was cool. I always like former students and or friends that used to live near me or whatever. I always like when I hear a different side of their journey or learn something about them. Basically what I'm getting at is when I listened to your episode with her, there was a lot of stuff that I didn't even realize about her, which I thought was really cool.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's give that same experience to other people who are going to hear about you. Where are you from, man?
I am originally from New York, from Syracuse, New York. I was born in the upstate New York, and then my parents moved me down south when I was 4, and the rest is pretty much history. I moved around a lot in my life. Actually, I live in Louisville, Kentucky now, and I've lived here 11 years, and this is the longest I've lived anywhere in my life. I usually average about 4 to 5 years in a city, and then I move. So it's really bizarre that I've lived here 11 years. I was doing a show the other day, and I was talking to somebody about that, and I was kind of shocked myself, going, "Wow, damn, I've been up here for 11 years. That's kind of crazy." That's the short, unboring version of how I've moved around.
Well, I used to live in Louisville for about a year and a half.
Oh, nice.
I only lived there for about a year and a half, and I've been back here now for just past 3 years. And I gotta say, I've lived in San Antonio my whole life except for that year and a half. And the people in Louisville were some of the sweetest, kindest, nicest, most genuine people I've ever met in any city.
I would have to agree with that. I've lived in a lot of cities as well. I've lived in Atlanta. I've lived in Columbia, South Carolina. I've lived in Jacksonville, Florida. I've lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. So some bigger cities as well as the small cities I'm not going to list off. But I have noticed that a lot of the people that are in Louisville and are from Louisville, I agree with you 100%. They're some of the kindest, sweetest people ever. On the flip side, I have noticed that some of the people that are transplants like myself can kind of be a little bit asshole-ish. I think that's a transplant thing. I hate to sound cliches, but they're cliches for a reason. There's something in the water here that makes you, if you're from here, you get the vibe and you get what Louisville's about and you get the whole culture of everything. When you come here, a transplant like myself, when you come here, you just kind of, at least for me, I tended to look at everything a little bit different. For example, when I got here, I went, why does the whole world look at this place for 2 minutes in April? It's a horse race. I don't get it. But when you're from here, you get brought up that way, and it's just a tradition, and that's all it is. So that's my dime store philosophy on that one.
I think that's a great dime store philosophy. Well summed up. I think.
That's right.
Now you do have a podcast, and it is called Bar Stars. Can we talk about that for a few minutes?
Absolutely. We can talk about whatever you want.
The Bar Star Podcast is a show that aims for something a little different. It's hosted by a drummer who thinks he's a musician. But let's be honest. I know and you know that drummers are not musicians, right? Or are they? Hang on a second. Who wrote this crap? This is garbage. Nobody's going to listen to a show put on by somebody they haven't heard of. Stupid.
I do have a podcast called The Bar Star Podcast. Much like yourself, I am assuming that you started your podcast because you were a fan of podcasts. Would that be a fair assessment about you?
That would be. I listened to podcasts for the better part of 10 years before I decided to start one myself.
Gotcha. I was probably the better part of 5 years. I was about halfway through that. But what I decided to do, I wanted to do a podcast that I thought I would enjoy. That was the first thing. The second thing was I had to get over the fact that I hate the sound of my own voice. I sound like a gopher in a box. Once I got over that, and then I learned the technology and stuff, I just tried to set out to, like I said, make a show that I would enjoy. And I've been very fortunate in my life. I've been able to play with some amazing musicians. I've done some very, very cool things. And what I wanted to do with my show was have a lot of the people up here that live in Louisville that I've played with that have done amazing things in their life, and we've done amazing things together. I'm speaking strictly musically, by the way. Excuse me. Get all of us together and just kind of have a show about how we look at things and how things work in our little world without getting too serious, which is why you hit me with my own joke at the beginning of your show about sports, politics, and religion. I will hit pause and throw you out of my house in a heartbeat if you start talking about that stuff. But that's kind of the basic premise of my show. I just really wanted it to be lighthearted, yet you might learn something that you didn't know. I have different sections on there about like social media issues, what bugs people about social media, stories from the stage, or they can be good, bad, or indifferent. I've had some good train wrecks myself. I have no problem throwing myself under the bus. And then the last section I have is, what are you listening to? What are you jamming on? What is anybody jamming on? Or what kind of podcast are you listening to? So I just try to make it fun and a little bit lighthearted, and we go off in all kinds of directions. One of my episodes, I was with my former singer in one of my bands, and it was like reining in squirrels and herding cats all at the same time, and I don't even know if we got anything accomplished. But it was 2 hours of laughs and ball busting, so I mean, it was worth something.
Well, I certainly enjoy the show. I've listened to almost every episode. I think there's a couple that I haven't got to yet, but I have downloaded them.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. My dad has been a bass player and a singer in rock and roll bands for my entire life. And so so a lot of those stories, and I could relate to, even though I don't play any music at all, just seeing it through my dad's eyes and being around him when he would tour, when he would play shows and all that stuff. So a lot of it was relatable to even me, who doesn't play anything. So it's a great show. I like it a lot.
Oh, awesome. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. Like I said, I just wanted to approach the whole thing with a real sense of lightheartedness. And I mean, I don't take myself too seriously. I've been playing drums for 30 years, and after you get so many years under your belt, you kind of just look around and take stock in yourself and go, why am I taking myself so seriously? You only get one go around the planet. You know what I'm saying? You just tend to take yourself too seriously. You miss too many opportunities, then you don't have fun, and then you grow up and be old, miserable, and cranky, and nobody wants to hang out with you.
So when did you come upon that philosophy?
About 30 seconds ago. No, I'm just kidding. Probably about, like I said, I've been playing for about 30 years. I've been playing semi-professionally to professionally for about 20 years. And I've done a bunch of tours, and I've been so close several times. I've been looked at by several labels and things of that nature. And I don't say any of that to brag. I just say that I've been very fortunate. I've worked my ass off, and I graduated from music school with a 4.0, but I didn't go to music school till I was 29 years old. So I did a lot of things late. But what happened to me is somewhere probably in my early 30s, I just started to look at things a little bit different and go, you know what, if I don't, quote, make it to that next level, it's okay. If I don't, quote, make $1 million, it's okay. I kept having this drive to be the next greatest, biggest thing on the planet. And it was just, first of all, that's kind of a joke because I'm a drummer. Nobody gives a shit about drummers. And I'm not belittling myself. The average person, you ask them a question about music, and they're either going to hum you the chorus line or they're going to hum you the melody line. They're not going to air drum. It just doesn't happen. I get it. I understand that. But what I'm getting at is I just started to shift my focus a little bit and enjoy what I'm doing a little bit more and enjoy life a little bit more. That's kind of when I came up with that philosophy. Because in the middle of all of that touring and all that stuff I was doing, my first wife, was now my ex-wife, thankfully, cleaned me out. And that's not a sob story. That's not a pity me or a feel sorry for me. That's just what happened. And when something like that happens and it takes everything away from you, it makes you really evaluate and reevaluate and take a long look in the mirror and kind of figure out what's important. So when you have to start over in your mid-30s, you have to start your life over. It'll make you look at things a little bit differently. So that's the short version of where I came up with my silly philosophies.
I'm guessing you were in Louisville when you decided that being the pinnacle wasn't everything and to sort of enjoy the ride.
I was in Louisville because I moved up here on a whim of, there was a band that wanted me to come play drums for them, and my marriage at the time was falling apart. So I thought a change of scenery would do wonders, and I really believed in the band. It was a band called Heaven Hill. we did some cool stuff. We had the #1 song in the region for 15, 16 weeks, whatever it was. Band ended up falling apart, but at the time, it just seemed like one of those things that it was the perfect opportunity at the perfect time to try and fix my life and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, when everything was, quote, jerked out from underneath me, and I just started looking around, I went, what does it matter? I could die tomorrow. I just lost everything I own. I have to start my life over. What do I have left, and what do I have to show for it? So that's kind of a long answer to your half statement, half question of what you just said. But yeah, I was in Louisville when it all went down, but that's kind of how it all happened. It was all leading up to that point.
Gotcha. I think you got to Louisville and had some of that Louisvillian water, and it changed your perspective on things. It's in the water, man.
It's possible, but I will tell you this. I tell a lot of people this. One of the first times I was out, because I had joined the band before I even moved up here, but one of the first times I came up here, I didn't even live here yet, and I was at a bar, and this guy come up to me, and he goes, hey, man, do you want to go out back and play cornhole? And I went, no, I don't. I don't know what the fuck that is, and I'm not interested in that. So no, I know.
For those who...
Once it was explained to me, then I got it, but I was like, no, yeah, not so much.
You're like, oh, that's what it is. Still no.
Well, right, yeah. Oh, I'm throwing a beanbag and a piece of plywood. Yeah, still no. No, thanks.
So I had never heard of cornhole before I moved to Louisville, and it's basically an adult beanbag toss, and they sell cornhole sets on the side of the fucking highway there. Like, they sell them like you can buy oranges in LA. They're just everywhere. It's insane.
It is crazy. There's many things in Louisville. I shouldn't say many. There's a few things in Louisville I still cannot get used to, and that's what I don't understand the whole cornhole thing. I don't get it. But then again, I don't drink a shit ton, so I'm very rarely drunk. So I'm assuming that if you're hammered, throwing a beanbag at a hole that you can't see is kind of fun, I guess. I don't really know. I don't get it.
All that being said, the very first thing I did when I got back to San Antonio was I ordered an official San Antonio Spurs cornhole set.
Please tell me you're lying.
I am not lying, and it was one of the most expensive things I've ever bought for no reason.
I must have this frivolous thing that's going to cost me entirely too much damn money, but I'm going to buy it anyway because I was in Louisville, and that's all I got.
And also, I need to buy it because I don't have any place to put it when I'm not using it. So that's convenient.
Let's spend a shit ton of money on the most inconvenient thing ever to remind me of some place I lived for a year and a half.
That's exactly it. Thank you for summing that up.
Perfect.
Now, I heard that at one point you were homeless for a little bit. Is that true?
I was. I left home at 13 years old. So there was about a year and a half or so in there. I did not have a dwelling. I did not have a domicile. I stayed with friends, stayed in the bridges, did all that kind of stuff. Again, I don't cry about it. I don't whine about it. It is my life. It is what happened. Overcome it. I don't ever use it for a crutch. When it comes up, I tell the truth about it, but I sure absolutely was. That is absolutely true story.
Now, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but can you talk about why you left home at 13?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a problem with that. My dad and I didn't like each other until I was in my mid-20s. And then by the time I got into my late 20s, him and I became very, very close. Up to that point of my mid-20s, as far back as I can remember, we hated each other. He didn't get me, I didn't get him. Him and my mom weren't together. My mother is not the sharpest knife in the drawer, shall we say. And she was living with some dude, and my sister was gone, and I was just kind of me fending for myself. And I went, well, shit, if I'm going to fend for myself, I'm going to do it on my own terms. So that's why I left home.
Awesome. Sorry, man. That must have been rough, but I think you came through it all right. So good job.
Yeah, I think I did okay. I went through some rough shit in my life, but I mean, you can. I'm a firm believer, and I believed this way before I got to Louisville. I'm a firm believer. You can use things as a crutch, you can use things as a stepping stone, or you can use things as fuel. In other words, people like to do things and then blame it on their past, or blame it on their ex, or blame it on their parents, or whatever. I have that whole bag of excuses, but I never use them. If I fuck something up, I'm the one that fucked it up. Nobody else fucked it up for me. I did it. You know what I'm saying?
I do, but I do it a little bit differently. Like, I like to do something and then blame it on your past. You know, like if I scratch my wife's car, then I like to say, well, fucking don't look at me. 3 Take O'Reilly was homeless for a while. It's his fault.
That is, you can totally blame me, but when did you hear about 3 Take O'Reilly? Don't think you're going to sneak that past me like I didn't catch it.
Oh, I heard you mention it on one of your episodes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I never called myself that, but I like how I might have to make that a moniker. I like it.
I think that you were talking about when what's his name? Your friend who passed away recently, or fairly recently?
Kevin McCreary.
Yeah, I think you were in the studio. I think it was during that story. I think that's when it came up. Or, you know what? It was the guy you were talking to, Jesse Vest, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Jesse Vest. He was bass player for Days of the New.
And Tantric.
And Tantric, yep.
I think it was that episode with him. I think he called you 3 Take O'Reilly.
He might have, I think, because in that episode, I think we were talking about when I did the Heaven Hill record, and there's 12 songs on that. Well, there's 13, but there's 12 with drums. And what I did on that record is I just did 3 live takes of every song, and then we would go in the control room, pick the best one of the 3, and then move on because I didn't want to do any punches.
And a punch is when you're just doing a fill for a particular part of the song, right?
Close. Anybody that's recording anything musically can do a punch. Basically what it means is, for example, if there was a part in the song that I screwed up or I made a mistake or I played the wrong thing or what have you, it doesn't really matter what the reason is. But if I had made a mistake, I could go back into the studio or wherever my drums were set up. They would play the tracks in my headphones, and I would play along to it. And then whoever the engineer is, I would hear him in my headphones, and he would say, okay, I'm going to hit record, and then I'll tell you when to stop. And you just play along with the track. They would hit record, and then they would tell you to stop. And what you're doing, they call it a punch because while you're playing, the original track that you just played is what you're hearing. You're playing to it, and then they will hit record in the middle of that. You will keep on playing, and then they will hit stop, and then the original track plays again. Basically, you're punching in or you're filling in or you're correcting a mistake in a very small spot of the song. Does that make sense?
Sure, absolutely. So you're inserting the correctness over the mess up.
Basically, yes. And you can punch, you can do a vocal punch, you can do a guitar punch, bass punch. It doesn't matter what the instrumentation is. But one thing I just didn't want to do for my own, I don't know if you would call it ego or just because I'm not a fan of punches because there's more room for error. I just didn't want to punch anything. I just wanted to make my performance, what I played, as live and as perfect as I could get it being a flawed human. You know what I mean? I just didn't want to do any punches because then it's kind of like you open Pandora's box. Once you do one punch, well, I can do another one. Well, I can play this too. Well, I can do that better. And by the time you know it, the whole song you've got 47 punches in it, and there's nothing in there that you've actually played.
Yeah, I think the way you do it is more honest. It's a more honest version of what you're trying to do.
I think so. I mean, look, especially now in 2018, you can go in the studio with nothing. You don't even have to go in the studio. You can do it in your basement. But you can go in the studio with nothing but an idea, and you can come out with a 47-piece sounding masterpiece of a song, and you didn't do shit on it. Here's the problem. You can't do that live. And I've never wanted to, in anything I've ever recorded, I've never wanted to do anything in the studio that I can't pull off live. That's just always been my rule.
You know, that was my dad's rule, too. He wanted it to sound exactly the same in concert as it did on the record.
Right. I mean, I think there's something to be said for that. It's kind of an old school mentality. I never personally wanted exactly the same. I wanted nothing that I couldn't pull off. If I took liberties with it, as far as just the drums, I'm speaking just strictly for me, then I'm okay with that. If I added something or took something away, I'm okay with that. But if in the studio, I laid down this 47-part masterpiece of a drum solo or whatever, which I hate drum solos, by the way. But if I were to do that, and I know that there's no physical way in hell I can pull that off live, what's the point? I don't understand that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
That being said, I respect where your dad's coming from, too, as far as sounding exactly like the record. There's pros and cons to both. I just have always thought, like I said, you don't do anything in the studio you can't pull off live. Of course, now you got backing tracks and all that kind of stuff, so there's a whole nother animal.
Yeah, that's true. So you've done it 3 times already in this podcast, and it's already on my paper to ask you about it. So why don't you tell me about the number 47?
47 is my favorite exaggeration number. There's no significance to it other than 47 is my favorite exaggeration number, and it's my birth year backwards. That's it. Okay,
well, 47 is my favorite number. It is also my birth year backwards, and it is in my Twitter handle. It is in my email address. There is actually a whole 47 society, which is basically a group of wackadoo nut jobs who point out all of the 47s in pop culture. Like, it's the most...
No shit.
Yeah, it's the least random number. So, like, if you're watching a movie or you're watching TV or something, and, you know, let's say the character is waking up and the clock on the wall is flashing 11:47, or their apartment number is 247, or all the bad shit is on the 47th floor. I think...
Nice.
I think that movie, what's that Nick Cage movie where he was more of a treasure protector? What is that movie?
Oh, National Treasure?
Yeah, that. So in that movie, I think it was that movie, he was looking for a missing page of, I don't know, Constitution or whatever the fuck he was looking for. But the page that was missing that he was looking for was page 47. So it's just all this weird, crazy shit.
Oh, you'll have to send me that. Send me a link to that stuff. I would like to check that out. But I just always I didn't know there was a whole society for it, but I've just always used that number. It's always, like I said, it's always in my exaggeration number. And I can put so many syllables and so much stank on that one number, just like you can the F word. You can use the F word for a million things. I can do that for 47. For example, oh my God, there's 47 guys on stage. This band sucks. You know what I mean?
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can put stank on it. Or you can go, dude, there's 47 things of ice cream. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Yep. You do not have to tell me, my friend.
I'm a wackadoodle. I like how you said that earlier. I haven't heard that in a while. I'm kind of my own wackadoodle. I play drums for a living, dude. How fucking smart can I be?
Wackadoo has nothing to do with being smart, but 47 has been my thing forever. So when I started hearing it in your podcast, I was rolling on the fucking floor. I'm like, this is amazing. This is my brother.
Well, and we have the same first name.
Well, okay, so that just lends credence to the fact that you might be my brother, because my dad's name is Steve, my name is Steve, my brother's name is Steve, and my son is named Steve.
Shit, then I'll have to be the weirdo wacko cousin because I'm actually Steve N. But that's a lot of damn Steves. Holy shit.
Yes.
That's 3 generations and a brother.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is actually crazy.
It is actually crazy. I do have a question for you. What do you shine your head? Just kidding. What's the dumbest thing?
Yeah, I bust out the turtle wax and I go to fucking town. Oh, sorry.
Nice. So, what is the dumbest thing that you have heard someone say this week?
Cannot make this up. This is a true story. 21-year-old female was talking about learning how to drive. I will repeat that. 21-year-old female. Talking about learning how to drive, and she said she didn't understand how the steering wheel worked, so she was going to put a mark in the middle of the steering wheel for when it was pointing straight, or when the wheels were pointing straight, the mark would be straight up. That was the appropriate laugh.
Oh, that is amazing.
I walked away. I said, I can't. I just got fucking dumb. I can't even look at you. I just lost brain cells. I'm going into the other room. So, yes, that is a true story. That is the dumbest shit I've heard all week. Technically, it was last week, but I'm not sure when you'll post this, so we'll just say all week.
That is fan-fucking-tastic.
Mm-hmm. And on 47 Deities, I swear it's true. That really happened. That was a real conversation, or a real thing this girl said to me.
That is fucking amazing. Your turning around and walking away was the correct reaction.
Yeah, I mean, how do you combat that, or try to speak intelligently to that, or try to even make sense of that? I felt dumb, and I just walked away.
Yeah, I'm dumber for having known you, lady.
Exactly. I'm fucking dumb. I gotta go.
So, I heard you say something really smart, and I wanted to ask you about it. You said, particularly about music, you said that everything that evolves, revolves. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I very rarely drink. And I don't say that because I think it's cute or I'm trying to be cool. It's just a fact. There's about a year of my life that I don't remember because I was drunk all the time. So I stopped drinking. But once in a while, I will get smammered. And when I get smammered, two things happen. I think I'm a comedian, and my New York comes out, so I talk really fucking loud, which drives my wife nuts. But a few years ago, I was sitting at a campfire, and I was smammered. And we were talking about music, because that's pretty much what my life revolves around. And then we started talking about fashion, because you've listened to most of my shows. You've got a sense that I'm into fashion and all that kind of shit. So we were talking about both things, and I was drunk, and I'll never forget this. I looked at the campfire, and I went, well, it doesn't fucking matter what you say, because everything that evolves, revolves. And I woke up the next day, and I went, what did I say at the campfire last night? I don't know. It makes perfect sense. Anything that you do creatively will eventually come back around, is what I was getting at. And somehow I came up with this drunken brilliance. For example, if you look at, I guess, the age range of probably your podcast and my podcast, this will make the most sense. Everybody was crazy for Papa Roach when they came out, when they did the whole Cut My Life Into Pieces. That dual guitar solo, or the guitar line at the beginning of that song, Iron Maiden did it 30 years before Papa Roach did. But the Iron Maiden was the first ones to do it, so it evolved, and then it revolved because Papa Roach redid it. That's what I was kind of getting at. Fashion will come back around. Bell bottoms are back in, and then skinny jeans are back in, and then skinny ties are back in, and then three-piece suits are back in, and then overalls are back in. Everything that evolves revolves. That's basically what I was getting at.
Well, to bolster your theory, one need look no further than lawsuits regarding musical intellectual property. About every 30 years, somebody is suing the shit out of somebody else for copying or ripping off their song, basically. I think the newest one right now is maybe Ed Sheeran. I think he's getting sued. And then, it's just always somebody. Pharrell was getting sued by Marvin Gaye, which was, 30 years before that? So, what you said.
I know that this probably isn't part of your question, but since you brought it up, I think part of that whole deal is kind of sad and a waste of time. And I'll explain that before your listeners jerk their earbuds out of their ears and think I'm a jackass. It's 2018. Even 20 years ago, it was 1998 or whatever. My math blows. Yes, that'll be correct. Anyway, point being, music has been around for so fucking long. There is nobody doing anything that is 100% truly original anymore. It's impossible. because everything has pretty much been done. Now, that doesn't mean that there can be nothing new and there can be nothing fresh and there won't be a fresh take on something that's already been done, hence the evolve and revolve kind of thing. But when you get to the point where you're looking for shit to sue people for because of something you did 30, 40 years ago, you need to get the fuck over it. That's my opinion. That's what I mean when I say it's sad and just kind of lame in a way. Like, dude, you know what? Just fucking stop. You may, especially something like Marvin Gaye, he's dead anyway, so it's his estate trying to get more money. Like, dude, you guys made plenty of money off of his catalog. Just fucking relax. Again, my 2 cents. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Nice.
Sweet. Good talking to you. Fuck you. Your show's no, I'm just kidding.
Hey, tell me how the book is coming. You wrote a book called Bar Star, No Fame, No Fortune, No 401k, right?
I did. I have. You have done your homework. I took a year off of work. Music, for the most part, pays the bills, but it doesn't pay all the bills. So I had to get a day job, and I had a day job for a while. And I'm, you know what? Take the year off and write a book. And for your audience, I debated on writing it for a long time because who the hell wants to hear about some drummer that lives in Louisville, Kentucky, who's not famous and all that kind of garbage. But the more I thought about it, I went, well, there's got to be thousands of people like me. So basically what I did is I've written a memoir that is chronological, because memoirs don't have to be chronological. But it's basically about nothing but my music life. There's a couple personal things in there, but for the most part, it is about me, but it's not about my personal life. But for the most part, it's all about my music journey and my music career. And the reason I thought about writing it, the reason I decided to go ahead and write it, was like I said a second ago, there's got to be thousands of people like me that are good, if not better than average, if not way above average. I'm not saying I'm any of those, but for whatever reason, just didn't cross into the realm of making it big or making it to that next level or getting to reaching their dreams, but they're making a living at it, or they're making money at it, or they're still successful, because I have come to the conclusion that people look at the word success wrong. It's a really long answer. Again, I ramble and I don't need to, but that's kind of why I decided to write the book, because of my belief that there's thousands of guys and girls across the world that do what I do, and they play music for a living, even though they're not famous. But I also think that people, society as a whole, they look at the word success wrong. So that's why I wrote the book. Where it is now, I'm in my, 87th round of edits. Actually, I think I'm in my 8th round of edits. I submitted it to 50 agents last year, and I got 11 or 12 rejections, which is the most retarded thing ever, that I was happy at each rejection. I've never been so happy to get rejected. My wife goes, "You are fucking nuts." And I'm like, yeah, but they're reading it, so I'm okay with that. I mean, somebody's actually checking out my shit. But I decided after the first 50, I would kind of take a step back from it, re-edit it, and then start submitting again. So I will be resubmitting it. I think my tentative plan is for the end of August, beginning of September.
Well, first, everybody who wants to know more about what Steven was talking about as far as how we regard success, I believe he talks a lot about it in the very first episode of the Bar Star podcast.
I based the entire first episode off of the premise of the book, actually.
See, there you go. No shame in that. That's what Cosby did. Well, that's one of the things Cosby did.
He did something else with the thing and the stuff and the too many people and the drugs and stuff. Oh.
Yes,
sorry,
he
that was
did.
a horrible impression, but it made me laugh.
It made me laugh, too. You know, this is 2018. You don't need a publisher.
Well, no, you are 100% right. But who I'm submitting to is I'm submitting to agents, because I've looked at the self-publishing route and the traditional publishing route and the hybrid route. I will more than likely go the hybrid route as I get down the road. But the problem with self-publishing is you are married to it. You are your own marketing and your own everything and your own entity, and it costs a pretty penny to do it. And between being a working musician and now having the podcast and the book, I can't do all of it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still trying to at least find an agent or get an agent that can at least point me in the right direction. And who knows, I may end up self-publishing it anyway. But that's kind of why I'm trying to go down the traditional publishing route.
Gotcha. I was really just thinking you could do an ebook and then put it up on Amazon, and I don't know how expensive an ebook is, but I don't think it'd be too cost prohibitive or time restrictive for you to do it. But that's your business, not mine.
Write a book, they said. It'll be stuck in the oven, they said.
Tell me about your first concert.
The first concert I went to, or the first show that I played?
Tell me about the first concert you went to as an audience member.
I saw Metallica in Queensryche in the Charlotte Coliseum.
My first concert was Queensryche.
Nice.
And
what year?
Like 89 or 90,
yep.
I think.
It's about when mine would have been. That was Metallica was headlining, and it was Injustice for All, and Queensryche was the opening band. Yeah, I think that was the Injustice for All tour, so that would have been same time period, 89 or 90.
When I saw them, they were the headliner, and who opened for them was Suicidal Tendencies.
Nice. That sounds pretty fucking badass. That sounds like a really cool bill. They were probably doing, at that time, they didn't bill it as that, but I'm going to guess that they were doing Operation Mindcrime in its entirety.
They were.
They didn't bill it as that, though, did they? Or did they just bill it as the Mindcrime tour?
I believe it was the Mindcrime tour, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. My timeline might be a little bit off. Because I know they did it.
My timeline might be a little off.
I know they did it where they... No. Dude, my memory blows. You are a fan of my show. You have listened to enough of my episodes. I say it every fucking episode at least 87 times. Way more than 47. My timeline memory especially sucks. But I do know that they did 2 or 3 versions of the Operation Mindcrime tour, because there was one that was just a Mindcrime tour when they were just touring the record. And then there was one when they were doing Operation Mindcrime in its entirety, with the video screens and the actors on stage and the whole 9 yards. So that's what I mean by whether if it was the Mindcrime tour, if it was the actual Operation Mindcrime record.
This was not the actual Operation Mindcrime record. This was not that.
Okay, so then they were just touring. They were probably just doing the Mindcrime tour of the record, because I think that record came out in 89.
That sounds about right.
88 or 89.
Yeah, that sounds about right, because it was about 2 years later that I went and saw Metallica for the first time, and they were doing the Black album. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah, because I think Black came out in 92.
91.
Oh, I'll trust you. I totally trust you. Hey, one thing I will not argue about is timeline in dates.
I heard you.
I don't know why I'm so bad at it.
I heard you talking to somebody on your show, and y'all were talking about some event, and you said, oh, what was that, like 2.5 years ago? And there was a long pause, and the guy goes, Steve, that was 6 months ago.
It wouldn't surprise me, dude. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know why my memory is like that. There's nothing wrong with me other than I play drums, which makes me kind of slightly stupid. But jokes aside, there's nothing wrong with me. I've never had a concussion. I've never had anything weird. I suck at trying to remember a timeline. I booked the band that I'm in, and a lot of the things I will negotiate beforehand and all that kind of good garbage. But what I'm getting at is there are times where I will negotiate that we just do 2.5 hours straight with no break. I won't even remember playing. Like, I'll remember sitting down and then standing up, and I don't remember any of the time in between. It's the most bizarre thing ever. I don't know where it comes from. The only thing I can kind of guess, again, my silly dime store philosophies, is I've done so much shit that my brain just decides for me what it's going to store and what it's not going to store. And dates and times are not important.
Well, that makes sense.
The only thing I can figure out.
That makes sense. Tell me about Gas Money, since you brought it up.
Gas Money's a band I'm in. I started that band about 4 or 5 years ago. The majority of what we do is 90s stuff, but we're just a pop cover band, and we do a lot of corporate private events. But I shouldn't say I am actually ending the band in 2019. New Year's Eve 2019 will be the last show for Gas Money, which I haven't even talked about that on my show or social media or anything. So there you go. We can have a Fascination Street exclusive. I just decided that I want to end it. I want to go do some other stuff. And honestly, between me, you, and everybody else listening, I'm really tired of running a band because I do everything for the band. I do all the booking, all the business, all the tactics, everything. Everything's in my name, and I'm just kind of, you know what? I just want to go back to playing drums. But we've had some fun. We've got to do some cool stuff. In 2016, I got to play, I booked a Microsoft, the actual Microsoft as in the company Microsoft. We booked their annual sales conference in Orlando, and they had us down in Orlando for a week, and we got to play their conference, and that was amazing. So I've done some really cool stuff with it, but like I said, I'm pulling the plug on it in 2019. I'm just kind of tired of running it.
Well, that sounds super dope. Where is the last show?
It is at the Gillespie here in Louisville. The Gillespie's an older hotel with, I want to say they have 3 ballrooms. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I think we'll be in the main ballroom. The Gillespie does a huge New Year's Eve bash every New Year's Eve, and they got in contact with me, I guess, 4 or 5 months ago about playing New Year's for 2019. And I said, absolutely, of course we would. The Gillespie's a high-profile gig.
So if people want to, I'm sure they could go to maybe the Gillespie's website and buy tickets.
I believe they can. I don't know when they'll be releasing that information, but I would assume that, yes, you can buy because you have to go through them to get the tickets anyway, so I would assume it would be the Gillespie's website.
Well, if you can't find it on the website, call the Gillespie and harass the shit out of them to put it on the website. Not you.
Yeah, that's true. You could probably do that.
Not you,
but
okay, sorry. No, yeah, not you, okay. But you know, one should if they were planning on attending that show.
One should if they were so inclined.
If they were so inclined. What made you think you could teach?
Oh boy, that's a loaded fucking question.
You're welcome.
I was just starting to like you, man. Fuck. Actually, it's kind of a funny story. It's funny to me because I think that weird things seem to happen to me sometimes. When I was going to AIM, which is the Atlanta Institute of Music, there was a gentleman that ran the library/job placement center, a guy named Chris. He was awesome. And he comes flying in the practice room one day. We had our own. When you got to level 4, you could bring your drums into the practice room and set up your own rig, and because you had to have mandatory lab hours. So he comes flying into the practice room, and he goes, "O'Reilly, I need you to go to this music store and sub. Can you do that?" And I went, "Sub what? What are you talking? I don't want to go select gear." And he's like, "No, I need you to go teach." And I went, "What? Teach? What are you talking about?" He said, "Listen, man, this guy is a friend of the schools. He's been really good to us, and we always help each other out. He just needs somebody. One of his main drum instructors is sick. He said, just go talk to the guy and figure out what you got to do." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Is there money involved?" And he goes, "Of course there is." And I went, "All right, fine. I'll go do it." So I go to the store, and the name of the store is Music Authority. It's in Cumming, Georgia, which is out 30 minutes north of Atlanta. And I go, and I meet the guy, and he says, "Yeah," he says, our main drum instructor he's sick. He's got something going on. I know you've never taught before. Chris told us, but can you just kind of sit with some of the kids? We'll sit in there with you. We'll check on you and kind of show you how to do it and what to do." And I was scared shitless. I was like, "Kids, what? I don't know how to talk to children. I don't want to do this. It's just kind of weird for me." So fast forward to the end of the day, I absolutely fell in love with it. I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to do this. I want to be able to teach all the time. And I was very fortunate when I went to AIM. I had 2 amazing instructors, Craig Harbor and Tom Knight. Tom Knight was actually doing it for TLC. And because you listen to my show, you know that he's also the one that does the voiceover for my intro. Both phenomenal drummers and phenomenal teachers. So about a week after I went and did the sub thing at Music Authority, I pulled Tom and Craig in a room, and I said, "Hey, I need you guys to teach me how to teach." And they both went, "What?" I said, "Just teach me how to teach. Give me some pointers." And that's how I fell into teaching. And I've been teaching ever since.
I think that's a great story.
I thought it was. I think it is just because teaching was something I never, ever in a million umpteen years ever thought about. It wasn't even on my radar when I was going to Atlanta Institute of Music. My whole deal when I was going to AIM was learn how to read music, get better at everything, become a better drummer, and get my ass back out on the road and start doing other gigs and doing session work. I never even thought about teaching. Never crossed my mind. Not once until that day when Chris flew in the practice room.
Well, that's kick-ass. I have 2 more questions for you before I let you go, my friend.
Absolutely. Whatever you want to ask me. You can ask me 47 more questions. How about that?
Oh, sweet. Thanks, man. So, I already got 1 scoop on this episode. Hopefully I can get another one. You have not mentioned at all on your show in any episode why you say the way you say, literally.
Literally, if you remember, and I don't know if you do or not, but my very first episode, the very first time I said that, I mumbled into the mic, I will never explain that.
Yes, I do remember it. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay, I'm gonna do this in my best radio voice that I have. I'll never explain that.
Shit! All right, it was worth a shot.
If I explained it, it would take away the fun.
All right, you win.
Now, if you really, really want me to explain it and you swear you'll cut it out of the show, I'll tell you.
Okay, I swear I'll cut it out.
Damn, you're gullible. We've never even met face to face. I ain't telling you shit.
Damn it. All right, how about this?
No, I'll never explain it. But if you really, really, really want to know, jokes aside, but you swear you won't put it in the show, I'll really tell you. Do you really want to know, like for real, seriously?
Well, the last time I said yes, he made me feel like a dick.
Well, I'm being serious. No, there's no jokes. You just have to swear to me on podcasting honor that you won't put it in the actual show, in the final edit.
I will not include it in the show. We've never even met face to face. You're so gullible. I'm putting that in the show. Just kidding.
Well done. I'm not above driving to San Antonio and kicking your ass.
Hey, so I
no, seriously, that's really all it is.
Cool. Well, thanks. So the way that we got connected was that I reached out to you for something to say on Angie Lisi's episode, and so with that in mind, I reached out to somebody and asked them for something to say to you on your episode. Are you ready?
Oh, shit. And let me guess. I have to guess who they are.
Yeah, but I'm sure it'll be easy. Okay. I was told to ask you how much you love playing the song Jesse's Girl by Rick Springfield.
There's about 8 people that could be, and I fucking hate that song. I hate playing that song because I can't play that song. And I have no problem admitting that I cannot play that song. That song is my kryptonite. I can't play it. I can't wrap my head around it. I can play shit in 33/8. I can play Dream Theater shit. I can play all kinds of shit. I graduated music school with a 4.0, but my dumb ass cannot play Jesse's Girl.
That's a fantastic answer.
Who said it is either Jesse Best or Ryan Murphy? One of the two.
It was Jesse.
Damn him.
That is fucking fantastic. All right. Tell everybody where we can find the Barstar podcast.
You can find the show anywhere you get podcasts. Literally. Podbean is my home, but you can find it on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Castbox, Google Play Music, Stitcher. But the easiest way to find it, if you go to wherever you get your podcast and just type in the actual name, it should pop right up. It's the Barstar Podcast.
New episodes come out on Wednesdays, correct?
Thursdays. I changed it.
You son of a bitch.
They used to be Wednesdays. You were right. They used to be Wednesdays for probably the first 5 months I started, and then about sometime last month I changed it to Thursday morning.
Well, shit. Sorry.
No, well, I'll be honest with you. It doesn't really matter because I was posting so late on Wednesdays. I mean, I was posting between 10 and midnight on Wednesday. Nobody really even noticed that there was new episodes until Thursday morning, and I started thinking about it. I went, well, I'll just fucking post on Thursday morning because Wednesday is one of my busiest days of the week. So that's why I changed it to Thursday morning.
That makes sense. Where can we find you on social medias?
My Instagram is @O'Reilly Drums. My Twitter is @O'Reilly Drums. I don't use Twitter too much. Twitter's a time suck. You have to devote so much fucking time to Twitter to get any return on it. I just don't really mess with it that much. But I am very active on Instagram, and my Facebook is facebook.com/O'Reilly Drums. I do have a Facebook page for the book Bar Star, which is now the podcast page, basically, but it's O'Reilly Drums Bar Star, I believe. Yes. I had to think about that.
Gotcha.
Man, look at you making me think. I hate all that shit.
That's my goal, man. Trying to keep those synapses firing. Scroll down to the show notes, everybody. All of his social media tags will be listed there, along with his website. So, I think I told you this before, but when I was younger, like in middle school, my best friend named Jess Harbor, he decided that he wanted to make up his own word because that's what he wanted to do. And so he decided that from now on, he was going to call spaghetti Bar Stars.
You told me that in an email.
I did tell you.
Or a Facebook message. One of the two.
It was an
email. I remember you telling me that.
Yes. Now, we have lost touch a little bit, but when last I spoke with him, he was still calling it Bar Stars. And now he has children, and I can only imagine that he's teaching them to call it Bar Stars too. I think that is really cool. It was just another thing that got me excited about being introduced to you.
Nice. Well, make sure his kids don't listen to my show because I have a very explicit advisory. I mean, you've heard enough episodes. One of my students walked in one day and said, "Hey, I listened to your podcast," and I went, "Shit, you didn't tell his parents, did you?" I kind of felt bad for a minute, and then I went, well, you know what? There's an explicit advisory on it. I don't feel that bad.
Yeah, you did your due diligence. All right.
I did my due diligence.
Thank you again, Stephen O'Reilly, so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me today, and it was such a pleasure to get to know you, man. Thanks a lot.
Oh, absolutely, man. Thank you for taking the time for having my silly ass on your show. I appreciate it.
Indeed. Take it easy, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Sounds good. See you.
Bye. Hey guys, Steve Owens here. I'm here to tell you about the coolest subscription-based monthly curator of men's fashion, the Menlo Club. Here's how it works. When you sign up at menlohouse.com, you choose your color and style categories. Then, each month, they send several pieces of clothing specially selected for you, all for $60 per month, tax and shipping included. Items like button-ups, both long and short-sleeved, t-shirts, shorts, jeans, pants, sweaters, athleisure wear, even sunglasses and shoes. And as a special deal for my listeners, if you sign up and use promo code FSP, you'll receive 50% off your first month's package, plus a pair of 5-4 brand sneakers and socks. So sign up today at menlohouse.com and use promo code FSP, as in Fascination Street Podcast, at checkout.
Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.